Yeah, I run marathons, so Matt's about to get smoked. I can't.
You can't do it?
No.
Okay, here, I'll come down. We'll go around the other way.
Okay.
But you have to tell me to take a hike.
Take a hike. Take a freaking hike.
Welcome to Take a Hike, where I take your favorite creators on hikes, pushing them to their limits and giving you a chance to get to know them a little bit better as well. Today's guest is Eric Floberg, who is a YouTuber, a filmmaker, photographer, podcaster, and a dad.
Matt Pierce.
Eric!
Hey, what are you doing
going?
here?
Just shooting an episode with you, man.
Oh, wait, what?
Thank you so much for joining me on the
man.
Take a Hike. So there's just kind of the one
You're not gonna get me injured, are you?
I hope not.
Okay.
That's not going to be the
great.
plan today. But in case you feel like that's going to happen, there's the one rule.
Safe word.
Yeah, which is take a hike. So if I ask you anything, or if we're going anywhere you don't want to go, you just tell me to
Matt,
take a hike.
take a hike.
So today's been a great episode. We will see you on the next one.
I didn't mean that. I was just practicing.
For the first kind of question.
Yeah.
Are you ready to climb?
We're going up that thing?
We're going up the
Oh,
mound.
man, I did not think it was that.
I know, I was so excited. You guys didn't even bring it up.
I thought we were going down. Okay. We're gonna dance with the goats?
We are going to be dancing.
You ready to
with the
headbutt
goats.
some goats? All right, I'm ready, I guess.
All right, perfect. Okay, let's go this way.
Okay. It's pretty vertical.
I know. It looks really bad. I promise it's not. Ow! Frick! Usually my first question is...
Do you like thorns? Oh, already bleeding. Great.
Yeah. How do the goats do this?
Do it for the content. I'm bleeding much more than I thought I would be. Okay.
I think there's only been like 10 or 12 people that have died doing this hike.
Okay,
so like
great. Your shoe's untied, just so you know, your left shoe.
Okay, so I thought this would be perfect spot to do our first question. Simple one. Who are you? How do you describe yourself and your channel?
My name's Eric Floberg. I'm from Chicago, born and raised. I have a family of 6 of us total, 4 kids. I've been married to my wife for about almost a decade now. In the 30s, so I've been getting up there, getting a little existential, gray hairs on the side. I do photo and video, filmmaking, short films, shoot weddings. I like talking about finance, a lot of those dad things too. Because I don't know, I feel like a lot of creative people, a lot of entrepreneurs don't really like to discuss the business side of their art, and I love marrying the two. So talking about topics that a lot of people don't really want to talk about and challenging kind of the norm that a lot of people fall into in the creative world. So yeah, YouTube's been a really fun endeavor, really frustrating and emotionally taxing, but now I'm in a studio with a bunch of other people and all kind of doing the same thing. So we all just kind of cheer each other on and work with each other on our projects, which is super fun.
Nice.
Yeah.
Speaking of grueling, taxing endeavors, let's keep doing this.
Nice segue, dude.
Thanks. I've been working so hard on my segues. Usually they suck. When you were like stuff that we fall into, I was like, speaking of falling into things.
Look at my bloody knee.
But I thought this one was a bit better.
Good.
So
okay,
yeah.
Let's go.
So we're just gonna scale up this.
Yeah,
right
this
here.
vertical part.
Yeah.
Like you said there wouldn't be.
It's not too bad.
You just cross over this stuff.
Yeah.
That, are we doing that right there?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's not bad, I promise.
Okay. Okay, that makes me a little nervous. I'm just not gonna look down. Nope. Man, I smell like I've been living in a van for 2 days.
That's weird.
I didn't shower after my run yesterday, so that's where we're at right now. It's just latching onto every part of me. Okay, that rock did you see that?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's so many colors.
Yeah.
Like
yeah,
the blue to red, orange, green, more blue.
Yeah, oh man. This is why I love this spot so much. Okay, I thought another good spot to stop, catch our breath, do some more questions. Let me look at my phone.
That's rain.
No, that's
rain.
That's rain. In terms of the YouTube side of things,
yeah,
I feel like recently you've switched into being more intentional with the message that you're kind of putting out there, and then also the storytelling aspects of your videos. I was thinking, like, what's up with that?
What's up with that, dude?
Tell me a little bit more about that.
What the flip?
This is awesome.
Thanks. Yeah. Last year in 2021, I got really sick of like throwing together sponsored videos, or it was just like the information was really valuable. Like I would sit down and think of intentional things to teach, but it was just kind of boring. Like we would set up a beautiful talking head shot, and I would go through 5 points that were helpful, but it just wasn't scratching a creative itch that I had for myself as an artist.
Yeah.
So after I launched my course, my online course, it was the first time I've ever done that. It was incredibly intense, like 3 months of just nonstop working on that. Yeah. I was still trying to balance YouTube and just couldn't really devote a whole ton of time to like making intentional short films or anything like that. And as a kid, I always had the dream of like making movies. Yeah. So this year is finally kind of the place where I've done that course. You know, I talked about how much income I made in 2021, and it was like the most I've ever made in any year. And it's giving me the ability to subsidize all these creative projects now. Cool. Where now, like, that's what I'm interested in investing in as opposed to strictly money-making creative endeavors. So now I'm like really interested in teaching some of those same ideas, but doing it in a format that no one ever does. So like creating a short film with dialogue, but that's discussing that topic and actually teaching something through the process. That's more calling back to my roots as a teacher, like when I would make videos like that for my students. So now I can do it with like cinema cameras.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Heck yeah. That's
cool.
Awesome. Super cool.
Yeah.
Let's get to this cool view.
Oh, that one was not good.
Let's go. Let's keep
Good
hiking.
try though.
I gotta work on it. I'm so bad at it.
Ah, this is Sparta. Yeah, that one's intense.
Oh yeah. Oh, I didn't like my nipples anyway.
Is my audio peaking?
No more brambles. No more brambles. Okay. I know I said that last time too.
Oh wow. Oh wow.
Not bad?
Not bad. Good work, brother. See my ridgies? Yeah.
Man, it's so calm up here right now.
Yeah. Dude.
But you can also go around here.
I'm just horrified of heights.
Me too.
You too?
Yeah, me too. I hate doing this.
It's just like
a straight drop.
If you fall, you die. Don't like it, Matt. Dude, I can't.
There.
I can't.
You can't do it?
No.
Okay, here, I'll come down. We'll go around the other way.
Okay.
But you have to tell me to take a hike.
Take a hike. Take a freaking hike. I just don't know what to do right now, actually.
Honestly, it's probably better just to finish off.
Okay.
Here, put your right foot right there. You're okay. You're okay. You're good? Okay. You did it.
Don't take a hike, Matt. Don't take a hike.
Yeah,
There's a lot of goat poop up here.
You good?
Yeah, don't take a hike.
You did it. You did it. You did it. Good job. I'm sorry. You want to check out the view over here?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, man.
That was good. You got it.
Oh, man. I wish that stuff didn't scare me as much as it did. as it does.
I have to shut my brain off
Yeah.
in order to do it.
Yeah.
Otherwise I freak out because I overanalyze absolutely everything.
Yeah.
And
I was quite the overanalyzer in that moment.
Yeah.
I love how the goats just come up here like no big deal.
Just to poo.
Just to poop. Wow.
Yeah. This is why this is my favorite view.
My legs are just shaking.
Really?
Oh my.
How's that?
Scary.
You doing okay? Does the view make up for it?
I've stopped shaking now, yeah.
That's good. I thought we could do last little set of questions for this spot here.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you've got your film camera on you.
Yeah.
You're all about the film photography. What is so special about film for you?
I jumped on film in 2016, 2017 because it was a trendy thing to do for more established photographers.
Sure.
But I think I jumped on because my friends Brad Butcher and Ben Heisch, who were dabbling in street and shooting their personal life on film.
Cool.
And so I think I quickly realized that the dollar sign associated with like an actuation of any frame is going to cost a certain amount of money. And so that intentionality really appealed to me in my personal life because I was just sitting on a mountain of digital images of my personal life that I never edited.
Yeah.
So going through rolls of film, sending it to the lab and just like it feeling like Christmas whenever they come in was a really fun experience. And then I didn't have to really touch them at all. And I just had this huge archive of my family photographed on film, my city, my life, my travels. And then in 2020, I went on a trip with my buddy Mike and we got scans back from a lab that we knew weren't scanned very well. So immediately Mike, being like the big brain dude he is, he just like, all right, we're gonna just process and scan it ourselves then. So then we started on the journey of like figuring out how to do that on our own. And now we process and scan everything in our own studio and have like full control over it, which is kind of ironic because now I have to edit all my scans. But the process still remains, especially with the dollar sign associated with it, of just being very intentional with frames versus shooting them, a dozen frames of one scene, rather just shoot one or two. Yeah. So, and that forces you to look at composition and light differently, and what you choose to photograph differently.
Very cool. Yeah. So before we get soaked,
we gonna plug my Instagram? Wait, what?
Yeah. Before we get soaked, go check out Eric's Instagram, and let's hop on over to the next spot.
Sweet.
Okay. Okay, sweet.
You should have said TikTok.
Yeah.
Oh, jungle.
Into the jungle.
Yo, this stick is actually so helpful.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe bring it for all your guests. I do consulting
Optional.
for $250 an hour. Just saying. I'm not advertising on your channel. I wasn't doing that. Oh, nice.
Stop for just a quick round of questions here. Before we get into our questions, we have to thank our sponsor, because without our sponsor, none of this would be able to be possible. If you're planning on visiting Maui or any of the other Hawaiian islands, make sure to check out HawaiiTours.com. They've been offering high-quality cultural and sightseeing tours throughout the Hawaiian Islands for over 20 years. Hawaii Tours creates an authentic and memorable experience for their guests by delivering custom small group tours with professional guides. They prioritize the health of the environment and local communities, so they partner with companies that provide sustainable tours, ocean-friendly restaurants, local fare, farm-to-table luau's, and eco-conscious hotels. When visiting Hawaii, it's always important that everyone should have a guide or a local connection to keep them safe, stay respectful, and get the maximum of each day on island. And that's exactly what Hawaii Tours provides. So make sure the next time you visit, you book with HawaiiTours.com. You're also referred to as like a dad on YouTube.
Yeah.
How does that make you feel, and how do you does that influence the way that you put out content, being people's dad on YouTube?
Yeah. I've never really looked at it from the angle of like people actually taking it advice as if it was their dad, but I kind of realized after that joke was made, I was like, because if I talk about financial stuff and like how to run your business and to do the things you need to do to be able to provide for your own family, I'm like, oh. And then just like, you know, whatever anybody's dad issues are, we all have them in whatever capacity. I try to be this kind of voice where, you know, especially our parents' generation didn't really like talking about money all that much. So in that regard, I like being really transparent about it to show people what's possible, to show people what might be a smart idea to do with your money so that you can invest it for the long haul. And I don't know, I get a lot of fulfillment from it, like getting DMs from people that are just like, I now have a full-time business because I like your content, like triggered this avalanche of me like getting into this field, and now I make 6 figures and I'm saving and investing this way, and it's just like,
that's awesome.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So
heck yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay. I don't have a crappy segue. Let's just keep going on this hike. The question I was going to ask was, because you brought up, you know, you grind with the idea that it's going to pan out in the end.
Yeah.
And without naming names, I know there's been some creators that like their marriage has really suffered and almost fallen apart because of it, but it worked out in the end. And so that's always something I kind of think of like, okay, well, in that case, the ends justified the means. But like, what about when it doesn't?
Yeah.
Or should you keep pushing because you think it's going to, or you know what I mean? Like,
well,
how do you find the balance in that?
So I worked 50 to 60 hour weeks during that grind phase.
Yeah.
But it wasn't ever to a point where like I wasn't having any family time or going on dates with my wife.
Yeah. That's
like
good.
it was still like manageable, just uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And like we were still having intentional conversations, like checking in with each other, making sure that everything was okay.
Nice.
And with my relationships with close friends, like still making sure that all that stuff was in check. But knowing that the business side wasn't a sustainable endeavor to do it that frequent and that intense.
Yeah.
Full well knowing that if it grows to a certain point, then I can lower the frequency or outsource and hire other people to maintain that frequency.
Yeah.
But to other people, I'm always encouraging them to like test out a season like that where you can manage it with like making sure it's not too crazy. This is beautiful.
Yeah.
And if it doesn't work, like have enough self-awareness to check yourself and see like, is there progress being made, or is this not worth pursuing anymore?
Yeah. Yeah, that's smart.
I think that's the biggest thing people have issues with is the self-awareness or a lack of humility.
Yeah.
Like a lot of people define humility as a true awareness of yourself and not just like faking. Like if you really think that you are successful, then somebody congratulating you on your success, you being like, no, I'm not successful. I don't know if that's necessarily a true form of humility.
Yeah.
But actually being like, oh, thank you so much, you know?
Yeah.
And that divide is really interesting, and I really hate seeing people like go at something for 5 years and seeing no like analytical progress, no monetary progress with it,
Yeah.
and not enjoy doing it. I'm like, why are you still doing that?
Heads up, these are
Okay.
super slippery. Yeah, no, that's such a good point.
Like if you love doing it and you're doing it for that, this is gorgeous. Holy, oh my God.
Right? Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah, I'm excited to show you, what we're actually getting to.
Okay.
Yeah, it's cool.
Sick. Yeah, I mean, like if you really just love doing that thing and you're not seeing like any business analytical progress, that's totally fine if it's still like a healthy thing to do for you.
Yeah.
And like your hobby, that's great. But don't expect that you're gonna make money off of it if you're not seeing that kind of business progress.
Yeah. Yeah. Such a good point.
Yeah, I get really frustrated with people that are like, no, you just have to keep going and going and going and going and going. Like the frequency isn't the issue. Like posting the same time twice every week for 7 years and seeing no progress isn't really helping anyone. Maybe you sit down and think of how to do things differently and post a quarter of the amount and watch something go viral because it's a good idea and it's executed well.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, totally.
So that's why I like pressing against the grain on like the whole advice to creator types
Like
of
the
videos.
hustle culture. Yeah.
It's just like, commit to posting every Monday for an entire year. I'm like, that sounds like a recipe for absolute burnout for someone who doesn't see analytical success.
Yeah.
Okay. Keep getting whiffs of my stench. And it's miserable. I'm just marinating in this jacket.
Okay, thank you so much for coming on this episode.
You're welcome.
This has been amazing.
Very fun.
Yeah, I've had a blast. But I thought we could do just a couple more questions.
Yeah.
You're okay with that? If there's
No.
somebody... no. All right, like and subscribe.
Okay, bye.
And if there's somebody watching this and they want to get to the level that you're at, whether that's YouTube or photography, what kind of advice would you give somebody?
The most frequent thing I say on my channel is lean into what makes you different. And I think if you ever want to like gain any attention in the online space, making art or making content, you have to have some sort of angle that is going to, whether that's the topic, the idea, the execution, the visuals, the audio, any of those variables, you should be pursuing like what would be different in that. As opposed to what everybody else is doing. Consistency matters. So like, don't not make anything. Make it fairly regularly, but don't like, my advice is always to just like, don't force yourself to have to make stuff on a certain deadline all the time, because that's where creativity gets ruined. And so allow yourself to be bored, allow yourself to fall into scenarios where you have to like sit down and brainstorm good ideas. Yeah. And how to execute ideas that are different than everything else. So give it a try, and with those rules in mind, or guidelines, if you will, and see if you find some success in it, and make sure you still like doing it.
Any plans for the future, or like what can people expect maybe to see on your channel?
This year it's gonna be a lot more short films. And I'll still be teaching. I'll still be making some wedding content here and there, but we are filming a documentary with Joe Greer this year about his marathon attempt in December. Cool. So it's my first long form project I've ever worked on, and I'm very, very excited about doing that because I have a huge passion for running as well. Yeah. He's a film photographer, so there's a lot of overlap there, and we're just really excited to see how it all turns out.
Yeah, effective. Very cool. Any last words closing out here?
Don't let Matt fool you. He never plays basketball.
Yeah. Okay. Well, with that being said, if for whatever reason you are not subscribed or following Eric, make sure to go check out his Instagram and his YouTube channel. That's all linked below.
And TikTok.
And his TikTok, posting 4 times a day. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, for tuning in. As always, we'll see you on the next video.
Take a hike, Matt. Gotta be prime. Gotta be prime shape.